Okay, so now let's talk about putting this thing up in the woods where we actually have trees that we can use as our support instead of our one pole. That alleviates a lot of problems because now we have something we can pull against continuously without having to put out any guidelines or make adjustments. So what I generally do with that is I use that exact same toggle system. And what I'll do is I'll take my rope, and I'll take one of my 12-foot lengths of the rope for this. And again, I don't like knots that I can't get out of things. So I come up here into the center of this thing and I tie a slippery hitch just like this. Okay? And then I'll put both ropes through that bend and pull it down tight, just like that. Alright? And what that's going to do is it's going to give me something to break very, very easily to get this knot back to a slippery hitch and get it undone. Now, I'm going to show you that up close real quick because it's a very useful way of doing this stuff as far as getting this stuff undone and getting it taken out very, very quickly and easily without putting a lot of pressure on it. Okay, so this knot is worth talking about up close. We have a bite in the center of our line. And we're going to come in here and we're going to tie a slippery hitch in that line just like this. And that loop, if we pull that loop, everything comes undone. So, come back in here and tie that slippery hitch in your line. Tighten everything up. Now you've got the slippery hitch on one end and you've got basically a double loop on the other end. Take that slippery hitch and put it over the top of those two loops and cinch the whole thing down so that that slippery hitch basically bites over the top of your knot. So you've got your knot here and your slippery hitch here. Now no matter what you do as far as pulling on this, nothing's going to get any tighter. So you've got these hanging out here for your toggle. Alright? Okay, so there's our slippery hitch and our two ears. And now I'm just going to pick the height I want this thing and come in here, tie this thing on the tree. If I've got enough rope to go around it twice, that's all great. But whatever I do at the end here, I want to tie a slippery hitch on the back as well to get it undone so that it's easy when I get ready to leave. And now I've got these two ears sitting here waiting to accept my toggle. Now all I have to do is come up here with one corner of my tarp. Stick both of these ears, or one, it doesn't really matter. Two is always going to be stronger. Both of these ears through, put the toggle in and pull it down. And this is going to be the top of my shelter. Now I can pull on everything any which way I want to get this shelter shored up. So now that I've got that hooked up, all I have to do is come out here with the other corner, figure out where my backside is here. Pull that out and stake it in. And I can stake everything tight the first time around now because I have a solid point that I'm staked to or that I'm tied to. Again, leave yourself some stake loop sticking up. A shelter like that, where you actually have a tree to put things on, takes a matter of about 2 minutes to set up. Now with a tarp like this one, it's got tie-out points in a few different places, so you have an opportunity here to be able to give yourself even more room by using your extra piece of rope, toggling this off the same way we showed before, where you put a loop through, pull the knot through the loop, just like this, pull that down tight, and it's not going anywhere. Now, if you've got an object off to the side like another tree, you can come up and you can actually pull that up to that object like this and give yourself even more room inside that shelter. Now, by pulling that one side up, I kind of adjusted that diamond and pulled that diamond off a little bit to one side, and it kind of gives me a little bit more protection down here and a bigger area here for a sleeping area. And I like that because I've got a well protected area right here to store gear, because I've lifted this up and kind of created another angle right here to put gear, and I've got a nice big sleep area underneath here. So those kind of adaptations to a simple setup can make a lot of difference in a longer term camp, like 3 days plus. So if I'm setting this up as a more permanent or longer term camp scenario, the first thing I'm going to do is come in here and get some insulation down on the ground with some cut weeds, just like this. And there's plenty of grass, plenty of weeds out here in these clearings for me to be able to cut to make myself sort of a browse mattress or browse bed to put my gum blanket on top of. And I'll cross hatch this stuff a little bit in here and put some of it going one direction and some of it going the other direction. Spread it out. Get it pretty well even thickness, and then take my gum blanket and put that over the top of everything as a moisture barrier, just like this. Then I want to get in there and I want to lay on that thing and see what I've actually got here and make sure I've got a comfortable, oh yeah, man, oh man. Yeah, that's mighty comfortable right there. Woo-wee. Man. Okay. Now we can put either a wool blanket down on top of this to give us a little bit more padding, a little bit more insulation, or we can use both wool blankets to sleep with. Now really, with a setup like this, it's kind of up to you what you do as far as whether you want to pack in 2 wool blankets or whether you want to pack in 1 wool blanket. If you put another wool blanket down here as one more layer, you know, you're really going to be smoothing it and you're not going to get cold as long as you take that other wool blanket and wrap up in it pretty well. You're not going to get cold in here. Even without a fire right in front of everything, you're not going to get cold. But make sure that everything conforms to your body really well before you settle in for the night, because after you get in here and you get this thing set up, that's not the time you want to be fooling around with this stuff. And make sure everything's comfortable before you call it good. And you should have a real comfortable night's sleep. You notice I've got this blanket doubled up on the bottom, folded up over, so that I've got some extra insulation there. Do I have to have that? Not right now in this weather, no. Is it going to make things more comfortable? Absolutely it will. A good night's sleep is an important thing in a wilderness environment. Well guys, I just wanted to walk through a couple simple shelter setups of my favorite configuration, which is the wedge. I wanted to show you how to do it freestanding with just a 1 pole, as well as in the woods where you have a permanent object like a tree to tie off on. It doesn't have to be natural cordage, it doesn't have to be an oilcloth tarp. It can be anything that you've got will work for this. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of Tyvek or a piece of painter's drop cloth. It will all work. This is just a very simple configuration for a square tarp. Again, it can be used on a rectangular tarp. You're just going to have a little bit of an area here where it's out of square that you can use for an awning, and sometimes that's a big advantage. I prefer square tarps for versatility, but a lot of people like rectangle tarps, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So I wanted to show you these today. I wanted to show you a couple tips and tricks along the way. I appreciate you joining me for this simple camping series. I appreciate everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks for your views, guys.